It's 3 hours before dawn on the northern frontier, and a young man named Lucius is already awake, not because he wants to be, but because a centurion's vine staff is about to crack across the back of anyone still lying down. In the next 16 hours he will march, build a fortress from nothing, and possibly kill a man, and he'll do it carrying more weight on his back than most of us carry to the airport. This is what a single ordinary day actually felt like for the most effective soldier in the ancient world. We tend to picture Roman soldiers frozen in marble, gleaming, heroic, posed, but the real legionary was a 20-something on a 25-year contract, far from home, cold, and almost always doing manual labor. The army that conquered the Mediterranean didn't win because its men were fearless. It won because of what those men did between battles, the brutal, boring, relentless routine that turned farmers and laborers into the deadliest machine of the ancient world. So let's drop into one day on the frontier, somewhere around the year 100 AD. By the end, you'll understand the real reason Rome won, and it has almost nothing to do with the fighting. Before sunrise, the camp wakes to the sound of a horn, the cornu. There is no slow morning. A legionary sleeps 8 to a tent of stretched goatskin, packed shoulder to shoulder with the men he'll trust with his life. These 8 men, the contubernium, cook together, sleep together, and are punished together. If one of them deserts, the others answer for it. Rome understood something modern armies still teach. You don't fight for an empire. You fight for the 7 men next to you. Breakfast is not glamorous. It's mostly grain, wheat ground and boiled into a porridge or baked into hard bread. A Roman soldier ate a grain-based diet, supplemented with whatever meat, cheese, and vegetables the supply lines could reach, washed down with posca, a thin, sour drink of watered vinegar wine. It sounds miserable, but it was deliberate. Grain was cheap, it traveled, and it kept an army of tens of thousands fed across thousands of miles. Logistics, not heroism, is the quiet secret of Roman power. Now here's the first surprise. After breakfast, most days, there is no enemy. There is work, and the work is enormous. This is the part the movies never show you. A Roman soldier was, first and foremost, an engineer with a sword. When a legion marched, it did not simply stop for the night and sleep under the stars. Every single evening, the army built a fortified camp. Ditches dug, an earth rampart raised, a wooden palisade planted, a small fortress constructed from scratch and then torn down the next morning. Imagine doing a full day's march carrying 60 to 90 pounds of gear, and then, instead of resting, digging a defensive ditch around your entire army. Every night. Why? Because a Roman army was almost never caught off guard. An enemy that attacked at night ran into walls and trenches that hadn't existed that morning. The Romans turned their own discipline into a weapon, and they did it with shovels. The soldiers even had a grim nickname for themselves, Marius's mules, because they carried so much. The general Gaius Marius had reformed the army to make each man haul his own equipment, tools, stakes, food, a cooking pot, so the baggage train shrank and the legion could move fast. A Roman soldier spent far more of his career holding a shovel, a saw or a surveying tool than a sword. They built roads, many still standing today. They built bridges, aqueducts, walls. The empire was, quite literally, constructed by its own infantry in their spare time. And here's the open loop I want you to hold on to. All of this labor, all of this discipline was pointing toward a single moment that might come only a few times in a soldier's entire career. We'll get there. Between the marching and the building came the training, and the Romans trained relentlessly, even in peacetime. They drilled with wooden swords and wicker shields deliberately made heavier than the real thing, so that the real weapons felt light in battle. A Roman writer put it perfectly. Their drills were bloodless battles, and their battles were bloody drills. Discipline was savage. Fall asleep on watch and you could be beaten to death by your own comrades, the very men you'd let down. For the worst collective failures, like an entire unit fleeing, Rome used a punishment whose name we still use today, decimation. The unit was divided into groups of 10, they drew lots, and 1 in every 10 men was executed by the other 9. It is brutal. It is hard to even hear. But it reveals the cold logic at the center of the Roman machine. The army made each soldier far more afraid of his own commanders than of any enemy, and a man more frightened of running than of fighting does not run. So now we arrive at that rare moment everything was built for, the battle. And after all that marching, building, and drilling, the actual fighting was shockingly controlled. Legionaries didn't charge in a screaming mob. They advanced as a wall of shields, threw heavy javelins called pila to shatter the enemy's defense, then closed in with short stabbing swords in a tight, disciplined line. When the front rank tired, they rotated. Fresh men stepped forward while exhausted ones fell back. Their enemies often fought as brave individuals. The Romans fought as a single organism. And that is the real answer. Rome did not conquer the ancient world because its soldiers were braver, stronger, or better armed than everyone else. It conquered because of everything that happened on the ordinary days: the marching, the digging, the drilling, the suffocating discipline. The battle was just the moment when all that invisible work finally became visible. When Lucius finally lies down that night in a camp he helped build behind a wall that didn't exist this morning, he is exhausted, sore, and underpaid. He may serve 25 years before he's discharged with a plot of land or a cash bonus, if he survives at all. He is not a hero out of marble, he is something more impressive, an ordinary man made extraordinary by relentless routine. The civilizations we call great were rarely built by great moments. They were built by ordinary days like this one, repeated without mercy for centuries. If you want to see how another lost world really lived, subscribe. Next time, we're walking into the streets of a city that vanished in a single afternoon, Pompeii.